Hey guys, right now, Captain Morgan is offering a special deal for Against All Odds listeners. Go to drizzly.com and use code THERINGER to save $5 on your next order of Captain Morgan. Again, that's DRIZLY.com. Promo code THERINGER for $5 off your next purchase of Captain Morgan, courtesy of Drizzly. And we're also brought to you by MyBookie. You know, people always ask me what team they should bet on, but where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting. And that's why I tell people to go to mybookie.ag. They have live in-game betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. Plus, if you join now, MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. Just visit mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag, and use the promo code SAL to activate the offer. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, welcome to Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. Tate the Snake Frazier producing this podcast. What's up, Tate?
I've been told by my own mother that snake does not rhyme with Tate. She's very upset about this, Sal. So I will not stand for that anymore.
Snake Tate.
It
doesn't rhyme. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't quite. Unless my name was Rake or Bake or Shake, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of not knowing names and not having names written down or people recognizing names, I was just delayed at the guard check getting onto this lot about 10 minutes. Nobody would really know because this post when it posts, but. What do you think, Tate? I've been doing this since May.
Yep.
I've been doing it for years, but I've been doing it since May, my own podcast, twice a week since late August. Still, name not on the ledger anywhere.
You need some respect. There's a lot of writers and bloggers that work at this place. They just drive on every day. But for the people in the podcast world, not the same respect. They don't respect television on this lot. Surprisingly enough.
Forget the bloggers and everyone. Does this happen to Larry Wilmore? I wonder. Do you think this happens to Larry Wilmore?
I think he just refuses to come here. He just does it at home.
He knows better. He doesn't want to be rejected.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell. You think he gets stopped? Well, they put that gate up. He goes right through, right?
Yeah, I've seen it every time. He just walks on.
He does?
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, maybe a tad more handsome than me. You think he had a rough time getting on the lot yesterday?
He broke through the glass, I'm pretty sure.
He did, right?
Yeah, he had to earn it. So at least you and Gyllenhaal are on the same page.
The piercing eyes just knocked down the gate, and that was that. All right, well, the important thing is I'm here, and even more important than being here, there was a poll out from the Washington Post this morning, and for the first time ever, this is not a joke, look it up, the majority of Americans said they would vote to legalize gambling. 55% in favor of legalizing gambling. This could legitimize us, Tate, me, and you, and the Degenerate Trifecta who I'm about to introduce. That would be a great thing, right? I would have no trouble getting on the lot if gambling were legal, I have a feeling.
Well, you'd be a richer man, right? So, I mean, then I guess you're competing with more people at that point, so who knows?
That's true.
It's a pretty good deal. I like it.
That's true. All right, we're going to do a lot today. We're going to take a tour around the league, look at odds. We're going to pick our best picks for the NHL. Season opens October 4th. It's a week from Wednesday. That's today. A week from today. Go over the first pick in the 2018 draft for the NFL. We're going to cruise down the river in the Captain Morgan Make-Believe Riverboat Casino. We're going to do our Sharp Tank bit where the Degenerate Trifecta pitches me their best bets. And let me introduce them right now. My wizards of wagering, my gurus of gambling, my barons of betting, my overlords of the odds. The Degenerate Trifecta is here. What's happening, guys?
What's up, Sal? What's going on, buddy?
So I mentioned this Sharp Tank thing. I really like it. You guys now, individually, you pitch me your best bet for the week, and I buy one of them, much like they do on Shark Tank. And last week, I think two of you guys won, right? Is that right?
That's correct,
and
Sal.
The one who lost was Brother Bry. Brother Bry, I bought your parlay, which is like a 6-team parlay. Was that right?
Yeah, it was a 16 parlay. It was like plus 550. And Tate the Snake's Tar Heels blew it for us.
Yeah, they definitely did. They blew it. They really did. They had a fourth quarter lead, and then they disappeared. They lost by, two scores at least, right?
They lost by 10. Yeah,
27. It ended up 27-17. But in fairness, I think Tate needed to mention to us that the whole team was going to be out that game, right? I mean, everybody was missing. I mean, I don't think Tate wasn't really paying attention there. He wasn't there to support me.
Masonville was out there, so I assumed that it was going to be a win based on that.
Our
it
good
didn't
friend
quite
Masonville.
work out. Yeah.
And Tate, you were there that week. It was so you almost got to play. That's how bad it got, right? Like you were in Carolina.
I was in North Carolina, but I did not go to the game because I had a weird feeling. I don't like to watch Duke beat me at anything, if it's women's soccer or whatever it is. So I had a weird feeling about it. And then once Brian made the bet, I knew it was basically over. So I'm sorry, Brian. I should have stood up and said something.
Yeah, that's all right. But did you guys see Surratt's pick six at the end of the game? It was probably the ugliest pass of all time. He threw it overhand with two hands. I've never seen it before.
Wow.
Overhand with two hands.
His name is Chaz. What do you expect?
It's Duke, Carolina. No matter where they play, it ends up being a basketball game. So yeah, you're right. The two-handed overhand shot was the way to go there. All right. Well, we're gonna bounce back. I'm gonna hear from you guys later. Your best bets. Harry, you're there, right?
Yeah.
Harry's got this deal. We made this bet. It's called 52 by 52. Harry has to lose 52 pounds by Super Bowl 52, and I give him $5,200 if he was able to do that. If not, he has to appear on Hollywood Boulevard wearing nothing but a sandwich board that reads, "I'm Harry Hippo, the fat loser who couldn't lose fat." And you're also going to be singing Daughtry's album. Now, what happened? You weighed in now. We have how many months left now? I can't even figure out. Going 7, 3, 4. Actually, we still have four over 4 months.
I think I have 4 months.
Right, okay. And you need to weigh 194, and what did you weigh in today at?
I weighed in today at 221, and I'm not really happy about it.
No, because you've been starving yourself, right?
I've been starving myself. I've been attending hot yoga classes. If I might have time to go tonight. That would be the fifth class in 8 days, and I'm exhausted afterwards. But I'm still doing it, and you know what? I may have to go back to when I lost that weight before, Sal. Maybe 10 years ago, I lost like 55 pounds. Maybe I'll have to go back to the celery and hot sauce diet. I don't know. I got to come up with something because it's hard to get this weight up.
I don't remember that at all. By the way, you lost 55 pounds 10 years ago.
Remember? Jimmy loved it.
I know, but you're not. That's not how you. I'm not going to give you tips on how to lose weight. I'm first of all, I'm pretty chubby myself, but hot sauce and celery and starving yourself is not. That's not the way you do it. Parlay Kid, you're a health teacher, right? That's not the way to do it.
No, so he's doomed. He is doomed at this rate. I think he's hitting the wall right now. I think. But Sal, how does he have so much time to keep working out? I don't understand.
I know, it's great.
This guy is literally texting us saying, "I just went for a jog for 2 hours. Now I'm going to hot yoga for another 2 hours."
Mm-hmm.
About at 10:45 p.m. I'm able to do that finally.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Well, Tate the Snake is really the only one in your corner, and he takes issue with how you're going about this hot yoga session. What is he doing?
Hot yoga's for like hot women, and they just sit and they sweat a little bit, Harry. You got to go out and do some exercise, run around, do some laps, like what you sent us when you sent the video of you running around the basketball court. I need more of that.
I am, but I thought this might help and might shed some. I'm soaked. As soon as it's over, I'm soaked. And the women are amazing, and but it's not turning out the way I haven't gotten a single.
You're getting sidetracked, Harry.
Regardless, I haven't.
Harry, how much has the enrollment gone down at hot yoga since you went in there?
I go to the last class of the night.
I'm going to bring all these hot women, you say. I'm going to bring them to Hollywood Boulevard, and they're going to watch you sing Daughtry with that sandwich board. I promise that's what's going to be. All right, let's go around the league real quick. Maybe that's too sportsy, that weight loss talk for you people. But let's go Major League Baseball. The anticlimactic end of the regular season here. What are we waiting on? Waiting on, I think Minnesota can clinch that second spot over the Angels for the wild card, to be the road team in the wild card game. Colorado is 2 games up with 5 left over Milwaukee, who's almost got no chance to catch the Cubs in the division. It's kind of sad. There's nothing going on. But The Indians jump out to be the favorite at 3-1 now. Dodgers plus 350, Astros plus 650. Other notables are the Cubs and the Nationals, I think around 10-1. And Parlay Kid, your Yankees are 16-1, and I have to say, you are as confident as anyone could be in a team that's could be out in one game. You would be shocked if they lost that one game, wouldn't you?
No, Sal. I was talking to Harry about this before, and that the one game playoff. It doesn't really matter if they were playing the Twins.
Yeah.
Or just give me the worst team in baseball. Who is it? Whoever it was right now, whoever it is, I would still be worried about that one game playoff. Hopefully, that changes soon. But I do really like the chemistry of this Yankee team. I'm a big chemistry guy. I'm a believer in that. I think if they get by this game, they're going to make a run. This is a team that cares about each other. They play for each other. Bill Simmons, he shushed me on Twitter yesterday, Sal. Told me to settle down about this Yankee team.
Yeah.
Told me to settle down. What's that about? Jeez.
Tate, tell him what that's about. Tate gets told to settle down all the time by Simmons. I don't know.
Exactly. That's life. Get used to it.
Is that what he uses those words too? Settle down? All right.
Settle down's the nice version. It's usually like F off.
That'll happen if the Yankees win the one game playoff.
This Yankee team, they've surpassed expectations so far this year. But now the bar has been raised. They got to win this one game. They got to get these young guys some time in the playoffs, and they're going to be a playoff contender for the next 5 years, maybe even 10 years at this rate.
All right. So at 16-1, they might be of good value for the to win the World Series.
I think it's great value.
Let's go real quick. College football, Alabama 2-1. They look unbeatable, but haven't played anyone really great. Although I guess the first game of the year was a nice win. Clemson 6-1 rises to second. Even with the loss, Ohio State is third, actually tied with Oklahoma at plus 850. USC drops to 9-1. Haven't been overly impressive. Have a big game this week. Brother Bry, we have Alabama, Ohio State, and USC versus the field, virtually even odds. At this point, is it just Alabama versus the field for us?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're looking at Alabama, Clemson, and probably Oklahoma at this point. I don't. USC has been. I mean, they've played poorly, so I think they're out. They'll lose one of these upcoming games. And Ohio State, I don't know. They're not going to have enough offense against Alabama. Alabama's going to shut them down if they end up playing in the playoff game. So I think Alabama, like 2-1, is still. I love those odds. You're never going to see them again after a few more weeks. So I think everybody should jump on those. I
like I figured when we picked those three teams, at least two. I really thought all three would be in the playoffs, but it really might just be Alabama out of those three, making the field of four. NFL Patriots 5-1 actually moved, even with the win, moved down in odds a little. Odds got a little higher. Atlanta 6-1. I think there's a good value there. The boys, the Steelers, the Packers 10-1. The Chiefs 12-1, showing they have playing good defense even without Barry. Tate, your Panthers nowhere to be found. You even gonna defend them anymore, or is this a rebuilding year at this point?
I think the injuries hurt, but yeah, it's tough for Cam. I think I said this on Simmons Pod. I feel like that Von Miller, he got something in his head. It's like LT Joe Theismann theory for that. It's a mental thing. I don't think he's gotten over it. It's sad, Sal. It's just really sad.
All right.
I turned that to like a very morose mood, but it's tough. Listen, I thought they were going to be good.
Listen, at least you could still drive onto the lot with no problem. That gets really sad. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Kareem Hunt minus 200. All of a sudden now running away with this thing. Dalvin Cook 5-1, Cohen 8-1, Tariq Cohen, Fournette 10-1, Deshaun Watson 12-1. God bless this guy. Gives his first game check to three women who work the team cafeteria. They lost everything in the flood. Good man, Deshaun. Give him the Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, just for that. I'm sorry, I skipped the Heisman, but Harry, Saquon Barkley plus 125. You almost pulled the trigger on him, right? He's the favorite all of a sudden.
All of a sudden he's the favorite, but me and Darren were discussing earlier today that. It just seems like, everyone, whatever happens that week, that everything changes.
Yeah.
It's still early. It's week 4, week 5 for some teams. Barkley might be I think he's plus 125. You said, but let's see how it goes the rest of the season when they get these later games, and maybe they lose, maybe he doesn't rush so good, and all of a sudden, I think Mayfield is at 3-1 is still very tempting because of the rest of the schedule. So. Yeah. See how how it plays out every week.
It does jump around. 2 weeks ago, Lamar Jackson was was plus 175. Right. Now he's 10-1. All right, now let's talk about my bookie. Ever since I started this podcast, people have asked me for advice, and it's usually what team to bet on. Pittsburgh, New England, Chicago, Detroit. Tate, give me another example.
Let's do. Did you say Browns?
No, I didn't say Browns.
Cleveland,
and who else?
Did we say Jets?
No, this shouldn't be so hard. Yeah. Cleveland and the Jets. Whatever, any 2 teams. Well, let me tell you, where you're betting at is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I always tell people to go to mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been in this business for years, and their reputation is rock solid. They do 100% cash bonuses, so off the bat, you're making money for doing nothing, and they have the fastest payouts. Seriously, just 2 business days. So lay down some cash and win big today. They have in-game live betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and an all-new mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. Tate, I gave you $40 last week to join MyBookie, right?
Yep.
What happened? Did you do it?
I did do it. I did some live in-game betting, and it didn't go too well for me.
It didn't?
I ended up losing all the $40.
You're such a liar. I'm getting that money back from you. I'm getting that money back. No, Tate did it. He lost, but if he won, you could bet he would get paid. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. Just visit mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag, and use the promo code SAL to activate the offer. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, let's move to the NFL. Lots of dogs out. 10 of 13 underdogs covered on Sunday. Don't cry for Vegas, because that's a big day for them. Underdogs this year, 26-19-1 against the spread. That's almost 58%. Unders lead 24-21-2. That's a little over 53%. Now on Bovada, you can find a prop. I'm tying this into the college stuff. Who will be the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL draft? They only have 4 choices, which is smart of them because it's going to be some guard from Western Michigan who no one cares about right now is going to be the first pick. But to suck you in, they have Sam Darnold at even. They have Saquon Barkley at even. They have Rosen, Manhattan Beach's own, Rosen at 7-1 for UCLA, and Mayfield at 10-1. Harry, which one are you going with? Is there any value in any of those 4?
You know what? I think there's plenty of value in Josh Rosen at 7-1. He's 6'4", 220. He's on a team with an atrocious defense and is single-handedly keeping his team in games. Plus a 34-point comeback versus Texas A&M was one for the ages. He's the nation's leader in passing yards and touchdowns. He won a state title in high school, and the coaches there and UCLA have constantly praised him on how to figure out game plans, defensive sets. He's been fantastic this year. His first game ever, getting thrown into the fire. He was 28-35 for 353 and 3 touchdowns and a win over Virginia. And as good as Baker Mayfield has been, he plays in a conference that doesn't have quarterbacks succeed in the NFL, and he's only 6'1", and for all the touting Sam Darnold got at the beginning of the season, he's only got 9 touchdowns to 7 interceptions.
Right.
He's 2 picks away already from having as many as he did last year. He had 0 touchdowns and 2 picks versus Western Mich at home to start the season. I mean, he could be the next Mark Sanchez for all we know.
Right.
He hasn't played that many games.
Okay. Well, Harry's phone is auto-tuning out on us a little bit. And by the way, I would have bet anything I had that out of the 3 phones on the other end, it would be Harry's that crapped out this week. Because what did we do, Tate? We sent microphones to all these guys, right?
Yep.
Supposed to be special microphones that you hook up to your computer. The Parlay Kid and Brother Bry didn't get theirs. Harry did, but for whatever reasons, he is not using his. So of course, his is the worst line.
He's locking arms with his other podcasting buddies.
Is that what he's doing?
It's Unity Week.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Good luck understanding anything he says in Unity Week. That's great. All right. Parlay Kid, what do you think? You agree with Harry?
Yes, Harry's on the money on this one.
Wow.
Rosen at 7-1 is really good value to be the number one pick. I don't always think stats tell the full story in college football. Darnold's numbers are very down. Sometimes I'm not sure if that really means too much to GMs, et cetera, because we don't really know the full talent that might be around him. But in this case, Mayfield is not going to be the first pick. I don't see a running back. I love Barkley, but I don't see him being the first pick, even though I think Zeke Elliott going fourth a couple years ago has kind of opened the doors for running backs to maybe start to be drafted a little earlier than they have been. But he's not going to go number one. This is going to come down between Darnold and Rosen. But Rosen at those 7-1 odds, it's much better value. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Darnold. Even Harry was mentioning before, and he didn't mention it now. He was a very good high school tennis player. Am I correct, Harry, on that?
Like at 15, he had 105 mile per hour serve, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He's got a little California in him, Sal. You know what that means, right?
Yeah.
He's a little Hollywood. He's got a little Hollywood in him. I like the kid. I think I can see him being the number one pick at 7-1. I think Harry's right. That's excellent value right now.
Are we supposed to take Harry's advice on who's his endorsement on who's a good tennis player? All right. Okay, fine. Brother Bry, you have a victory over Harry. You want to praise Saquon Barkley's tennis skills or anything? Who do you like?
I don't at all. No, Harry's terrible at tennis. He shouldn't be allowed to comment on anybody's tennis game. That's for sure.
Who stands out here?
Sal, I'm going to say on this one, these seem like way out of whack. I don't even know how they came up with this because Barkley even odds. There's no way a running back's going number one, as phenomenal as he is, and he's way better than I even thought. I mean, he's awesome. He might even be better than Elliott and Fournette and the last few guys that have come out. He's fantastic, but no way he goes one. The only odds that seem about right on this is Darnold. I think Rosen would probably be like 3 or 4 to 1, but Darnold coming into this season was consensus number one. It still seems like, based on all these mock drafts, he's still considered the number one guy. I know he's struggled a little bit this year, but didn't some of these other quarterbacks struggle in their second, third years? Like Winston struggled; he was still the first pick. Mm-hmm. Manning really struggled too. I think his last season, and he was the first pick. So I don't think GMs are necessarily going to look at that because he's still come up big in a lot of these games, and he'll get better throughout the year. He's definitely way more accurate, and he's a lot more mobile than Rosen is. So I think the footwork definitely is going to help. So I would still take Darnold here at even. And I have no idea why Mayfield's even on here at 10-1. He's probably like, from an NFL standpoint, he's probably like maybe the 8th best quarterback.
I was looking at that. I think they just threw him in there to throw him in there. But does it matter who the team picking number one is? I think, Tate, Jets, 49ers, Browns, Colts.
Maybe Bears.
Maybe Bears, and Harry's Giants have to be in there for sure. But, so out of those teams, the Browns, Colts, and Bears wouldn't take a quarter. You should hope, Tate, that the Bears are not going to take a quarterback after this year. So that leaves like the Jets and 40. I actually think the Jets are going to have the number one pick. I know they won last week, but I have them taking.
Don't forget about the Chargers.
Oh yeah, the Chargers. They can't get out. I somehow I don't know how that team's not going to win 6 games, but it's probably not going to. But the Jets have a problem with Penn State. I think they could like a guy like Saquon Barkley, but they're cursed with Penn State bums like Blair Thomas, Kyle Brady, Hackenberg now, right? I think they pass on him even if he's the obvious choice. It's probably going to be Sam Darnold to the Jets, I would say.
Wouldn't you pass on another USC quarterback after
that's true.
You have to deal with the whole Sanchez thing again?
Yeah, right. Oh, they're screwed. They've had so many schools screw them over. What are they should just trade the pick. They should be done with it altogether. You're right. Let's do this. This brings us to our sponsored segment, Captain Morgan's Make Believe Riverboat Casino. Each week, the Degenerate Trifecta and I, and we let Tate on the boat too, we set sail tackling make-believe gambling propositions related to sports and pop culture events. This week, we want to find out, Carmelo Anthony's 2017-2018 shots made per game versus the weight of Khloe Kardashian / Tristan Thompson's baby. This is very close. Tate, Carmelo's right around 10 shots made per game career-wise, right?
Best of his career is 10.6 made, and that was 2006, 2007. The worst of his career was 7.5, and that was 2 years ago.
Right.
So, good range.
It's a good one. It's a good matchup. I had Carmelo giving a point or two, but now I think it's about even. Khloe and Tristan, I think, have a big baby. Parlay Kid, who wins this? Which number's higher?
Oh, Sal, how did you come up with this one? This is a good one, Sal. You're neighbors with the Kardashians, aren't you? Out there in California?
Not really. They're in the west. They're deep valley, but yeah.
Calabasas.
Yeah,
right?
no one's gonna accuse me of being the father if that's what you're getting at. But no. Yeah.
That's Kim.
Listen, Sal.
Yeah.
This is what I think about this. Yeah, on paper they're gonna have a pretty big baby, right? On paper,
yeah.
But we know how these Hollywood types are. She's gonna go on some type of West Coast. Got to watch the baby weight diet.
Yeah.
That could hurt her, the size of the baby in the long run in terms of this baby on paper. I'm thinking, man, this could be like a 12-pounder, right? Like I'm thinking 10 to 12 pounds, but she's gonna be very careful with her diet. She's not gonna want to put on too much weight.
Hot yoga probably Kardashian 4 times a week. Yeah.
Hot yoga while she's pregnant.
Right.
Maybe Harry. Yeah, absolutely. And then now, I'm going to come back to that weight and tell you what I think that's going to be.
Okay.
But then you have Melo. He's really now the third option in OKC, right? I think he's the third option. Mm-hmm. And Tate was right. His career numbers are exactly the same in baskets made per game with Denver and the Knicks. 8.8 field goals made per game. And it's exact number with the Denver Nuggets and the New York Knicks. I'm thinking he's going to fall around there because I've already seen comments about him like, hey, he's already said, I'm a scorer. That's what I do. I'm going to take my shots, regardless if I'm the third option or not here in OKC.
Of course.
And listen, Carmelo is not a volume shot maker in my mind. He's a volume shot taker. He takes a lot of shots. Brian and I are very familiar with his 9 for 25 shooting performance this year in New York. Mm-hmm. But let's say he's going to average making about a little less because he is going to be the third still. He's going to average about 8.5 shots made per game, field goals made per game. This baby's going to weigh about 9 pounds.
Wow.
Take Khloe and Tristan to win that.
Parlay Kid says Khloe and Tristan baby weight is higher. Brother Bry, also a Knick fan, happy to see Carmelo go.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy to see him go. I just didn't like what they got back in return. I mean, I think it's maybe addition by subtraction at this point. I mean, it was just a distraction for them. But I just don't think they got enough. But I am glad to see him go. This should be Porzingis' team at this point in time. So I guess overall it's good. It's good for the Knicks.
And is he going to shoot a lot on this? What do you think? Does he shoot more than 10? Does he make more than 10?
No, so I'm going to say, if you look at the last few years, he averaged about 8 field goals made a game and 22 points. I'm thinking with OKC, he's probably going to score about, I'm going to say between like 18.5 and 20 points a game, which is going to probably put him at like 7 field goals made a game. So I think this is really easy.
Wow.
I'm looking at Khloe's baby to be about 10, 11 pounds here. It's funny, you have me searching online today for Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson birth weights for about 2 hours, and
nice.
I couldn't find anything.
Well, because the baby's not born yet. Their weight, you're saying. Oh, I see.
Yeah, their weight when they were born. I was looking at it, I couldn't find it anywhere.
Interesting.
But I think even this is so easy. I think even if Spud Webb was the father of this baby, it would go over. So I'm gonna take Khloe with the weight here.
So I looked at the only baby weight I could find was Shaquille O'Neal, and when he was born, he was 7 pounds 11 ounces.
That's ridiculous.
So you never know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. Tate, well, go ahead. As long as you're chiming in, what do you think of this?
I'm gonna take. I mean, Khloe is the largest Kardashian as far as who she is naturally. She's like almost 6 feet tall, right? She's like 5'11".
Yeah.
Then you have Tristan Thompson. So I'm gonna go over. Carmelo's not making that many shots this year, so the baby's going to weigh like 9-10 pounds.
All right.
Carmelo's going to make like 6-7 shots.
Wow, I thought this was a good one. Everyone's going Khloe. All right, what about you, Harry? You're a contrarian usually. Which way are you going?
I'm still going with Khloe and Tristan. Well, I basically looked at the numbers. Carmelo's, by the way, has averaged 20 field goal attempts for his career a game. And last year he was down to 8.1 in terms of shots made a game. And I think you're right, Darren. I think he may not get the ball as much in the rotation with this team. And things are going on with Carmelo. Everyone knows I love Syracuse and everything, and I love that he brought us a national championship. But he's been awful in the pros. The way he runs the offense, he has to run his offense and get his shots. No good. Go with Khloe and Thompson on this.
All right. Well, listen, I saw a stat this morning. I was all set to go Khloe and Tristan here. I saw a stat, though. He's going to start at power forward for OKC. 13% of his games he's played has been at power forward. And in those games, he has averaged the most points ever for a power forward at 24.8. I think Boogie Cousins is 24. Karl Malone was 23. Now, that said, this is going to be a gigantic baby. A gigantic baby. I'm talking... I don't know how many of you guys watched Game of Thrones. Are we allowed to talk about that on the Ringer Podcast Network, Game of Thrones?
Nope, not anymore, Sal.
Oh, really?
I'm wrapping it up. I'm turning it off.
All right, good. Brienne of Tarth type dimensions here, I think. Just a warrior, but a really, really cute Brienne of Tarth, I think, Game of Thrones. And, I think 14-10, Kardashian Thompson baby wins over Carmelo Anthony. All right, that's another week of Captain Morgan's Make Believe Riverboat Casino. No matter how you live like a captain. Captain Morgan reminds you to please drink responsibly. Captain's orders. All right, switching gears to the NHL. I can't believe it's here already. The season begins October 4th, which is next Wednesday. I don't know a ton about hockey. I like watching it. These guys know more, but what we're going to do is we're going to get one pick from each of you guys, either a Stanley Cup champion, a conference champion, an MVP, team to make the playoffs. Harry, what do you like? There's a new Vegas team. Are you touching that?
No, they've been fairly impressive so far in the preseason, but I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers at plus 170 to win the Pacific Division.
Oh.
I think, with that said, first you can just rule out expansion Vegas. And the Coyotes and the Canucks are beyond awful. San Jose is older, and you saw that at the end of the playoffs last season. LA missed the playoffs last season, so their only real team that they have to go up against is the Anaheim Ducks, and they will have to beat out Ryan Getzlaf, who's really good on that team. But for the Oilers, Connor McDavid had 100 points last season. He's the talk of the NHL. He's only 20 years old. They had a guy who scored 77 points, Leon Draisaitl, who never even heard of. He had 77 points last year, which is probably covers more than anyone had on their team for half the rest of the league. So I'm taking the Oilers at plus 170. They won a playoff round last year, and then they probably should have won the second round. They froze up when they were up 3-1. But still, this team's on the rise at plus 170 to win the Pacific Division, Edmonton Oilers.
All right, and you're saying the Vegas Knights will not present a challenge for Edmonton this year in the Pacific Division.
I'll tell you what, Vegas in their first exhibition game they played in Vancouver. How about the first team as a franchise? You put up 9 goals in hockey. That was pretty good, so be rooting for them.
Yeah, 8-1 to make the playoffs and 200 to 1 to win the Cup. Probably won't happen, but they'll be fun to root for. Brother and Bry, who's your NHL best bet?
Yeah, I love Harry's pick with Edmonton. I think this year would be a fun year to take Edmonton and everything to win it. McDavid for the Hart Trophy, but I'm going to go with Tampa Bay Lightning to win the Atlantic Division at plus 220. It seems like everybody also loves Tampa Bay this year. All my hockey friends who are big hockey fans and know a lot more about hockey than I do love Tampa this year. The weird thing is, they're plus 220, Toronto's plus 275, Montreal's plus 320. But Tampa, their over-under in points is 4 points higher than any one of those teams. So I think the plus 220 for the division is kind of a steal there because their plus minus for points is 103.5. So that's really high. last year they only had, I think, 94 points. That was without Stamkos the whole year. He'll be back. I know they had a couple of key free agent signings in Kunitz and Girardi. So looking for a big bounce-back year, and supposedly, I guess, everybody really is. So I think plus 220 is good here.
All right, that's pretty good. And they're favored to win the Atlantic, right? I think they're top, right? They're
they're the favorite. Yep.
All right, Parlay Kid. You know, it's funny. As a group, we started this right during this. We started this podcast in the thick of the NHL playoffs. We gave you some good advice. We gave everyone good advice. We hit on a little nugget where teams are 2 goals down in the playoffs, jump on them, and you could sometimes get between like 4 and 7-1 odds, and a lot of them came back and won. Then it tailed off, I think, towards the conference finals and the Stanley Cup. But we look for things like that. What's your preseason choice, Parlay Kid?
All right, Sal. You know, I'm so happy hockey's starting again. It gets lost in the shuffle here with baseball playoffs and football in full swing, but I'm very excited. Sal, I like the New York Islanders over 88.5 points at minus 130 at Bovada. The Islanders, this team, listen, this is all in spite of a general manager, Garth Snow, who's the Sashi Brown of the NHL. he is not a very good GM. He's been given a long leash, like a decade-long leash here, to rebuild this team. When hockey rebuilds, don't take this long. But, however, over the last 3 seasons, last year 94 points, the year before 100, the year before that 101 points. Doug Wade took over last year for head coach Jack Capuano, or former head coach Jack Capuano. He won 24, 12, and 6 with this team. That's on pace for about 106 points under Doug Wade. They have a nice balance of veterans, young veterans, hungry rookies. Watch out for rookie Matthew Barzal. He's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. Their goalie situation is much more stable this year, if not spectacular, with Greiss and Alak in the net. And the addition of Everly from the Edmonton Oilers is going to really help John Tavares out, who, for listeners who don't really follow hockey, John Tavares is a top 10 player in the league.
Sure.
He's on a contract year this year. He's gonna be a top 3 Hart MVP type of candidate towards the end of the year. 88.5 points is way too low for this team. Way too low. And I know a lot of pessimistic Islander fans. Brian, correct me if I'm right? We know a lot of pessimistic fans. They even say this is going over 88.5 points at minus 130 at Bovada. That's easy money.
Well, you said correct me if I'm right. So, Brian, now you have a decision to make. No, all right, no, but all right, Parlay Kid. This is a bit of a homer call. It's a bit of a homer call, but I like it. I like it. Over 88.5, and they're 50-1 to win the cup. So that could be nice. Put a few shekels on that too. I'm gonna go with this is gonna be unpopular. I know Harry's gonna hate this. Parlay Kid might like a little more. Washington Capitals to win the Metropolitan Division at plus 240. Now, I know they lost a bunch of free agents and everything, but they just dominate the regular season. They had 118 points last year. They won by 7 points over the Penguins. A plus 81 goal differential, which was tops by a ton. 2015-16, they won the division by 16 points. I think they're in good shape. As Coach Barry Trotz has been working on their power play. He's got his unit intact. Braden Holtby was like the best goaltender as far as goals allowed in the league. They re-signed Oshie, he and Ovechkin. Ovechkin's 31, so it kind of has to happen like one of these years for him. They led the team with 33 goals each. They lost Marcus Johansson. That's a big loss, but they have some younger prospects stepping up. 7 of the last 10 years they finished in first place. 32-7 at home. Regular season, home ice seems to matter. In the playoffs, you can throw it out the window, but they dominate at home during the regular season. I like the Caps at plus 240 to win the Metropolitan Division.
Nice.
All right, and now this is a very nice segue. I'm going from hockey to Nature Box. Because when it comes to snacks, you have to eat at these games, right? And when it comes to snacks, sometimes it feels like the only options are delicious and a billion calories, or boring and tasteless. Or in Harry's case, it's celery and hot sauce, which doesn't work. What does work is Nature Box. It doesn't have to be that way. Your snack game can raise it up with Nature Box. Over 100 snacks that taste good and are all made from high-quality, simple ingredients. That means no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners, so you can feel good about what you're eating. I like the honey Dijon pretzels, the vanilla bean wafers. I like it. You know why? Because it's better than eating nothing, Harry. What are you eating after your hot yoga classes?
Pretty much nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Okay, so this is better than nothing. I'm telling you, it's so simple. Go to naturebox.com, choose the snacks you want. NatureBox will deliver them right to your door. Harry, you can answer the door, right? You let some weird people in your house. Grab a NatureBox next time you answer the door. No risk. If you try a snack you don't like, NatureBox will replace it for free. And right now, you'll save even more. NatureBox is offering our listeners 50% off your first offer when you go to naturebox.com/odds. That's naturebox.com/odds, ODDS, for 50% off your first order. naturebox.com/odds. Here we go. The moment of truth, fellas. Shark Tank. Much like the TV show on ABC, you're going to pitch me your invention, but in this case, your invention is a bet. It's either a teaser, a parlay, a straight bet, whatever. From the various sports, we're at a good time of year. It's a lot to choose from. Last week, the Degenerate Trifecta went 2-1. I bought Brother Bry's pick. It unfortunately lost when North Carolina blew a fourth quarter lead. Tate, we were texting you, Tate. You didn't even respond. I know you're at a wedding. You didn't even respond.
I couldn't watch the game. I only watched up until the third quarter. It was 17-13. I felt pretty good. And then I got my phone back, and I felt embarrassed. I felt bad. I felt bad for you, Brother Bry. I'm sorry.
You should. It was between 5 and 6-1 odds. Brother Bry, let's bounce back. Maybe I'll buy you a second week in a row. What's your best bet of the week?
All right, I'm going back to college football, and I'm going to go a 7-team money line parlay. I feel like I have to go back to college. I've done a little bit better in college so far. I'm struggling in the NFL. I haven't had a good pulse on that yet, so I think it's harder to pick the NFL games until you get like midway through the season. So I think you're going to like this one because I have favorites all over this one. So I'm going to go on this 7-teamer. I'm going to go OK State minus 350 over Texas Tech. OK State came off a bad loss last week against TCU, and Texas Tech had a good game against Houston. I'd look for them to bounce back and win big. I mean, I think Oklahoma State could win by 30 points in this game. Really love them. The next one, I like Penn State minus 1,100 over Indiana. I think there's no explanation needed for that one. That one's easy. Wisconsin minus 625 over Northwestern. These games are typically close, but I think you'll see Wisconsin pull ahead big time in the second half, and I think that's another easy one. Stanford minus 750 over Arizona State. Again, Arizona State coming off a big win at home against Oregon. I think you can look for them to fall short in this one. I think Stanford, again, is an easy pick. Auburn minus 330 over Mississippi State. I think you saw in Mississippi State last week they struggled against Georgia. Auburn and Georgia are pretty much the same team. Auburn at home should do the same thing to Mississippi State that we saw last week. Georgia minus 320 over Brad's Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh.
I think Tennessee at the moment's a mess, and Georgia's playing great. So, I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, I think I might have been wrong with the Sumlin first SEC coach fired because, I mean, if Georgia blows them out this week, Butch Jones could get fired in this one. But I do love Georgia in this game. And the last one, I have Georgia Tech minus 340 over Tate the Snake's Tar Heels. So UNC is. We talked about how injured they are. The fact that they really do suck, and they never beat Georgia Tech. If you look at it, I think Georgia Tech seems to blow this team out every time they play. So I like those 7 teams are plus 308 this week. So I think you're going to like that one, Sal, because of all the huge favorites. I know you love favorites. So
I really do like the favorites. This week. I like checking them off. Go ahead, Tate.
No, that's a great call, Brian, because Paul Johnson wanted to run the option at Carolina, and they hired Butch Davis instead. So he has like he has a personal vendetta against Carolina football. So it's great. He's from North Carolina, so he always wins. It's crazy.
All right, I'm going to hear all of them before I reserve my before I give my opinion. All right, Harry, I think I know what you're taking. You've been talking about this game for like 3 years before it was even on the schedule. Does it involve USC Washington State?
It absolutely does. And the line is Washington State +4 at home, and this is Friday night. I don't even want the 4 points. I don't need the 4 points. I'm going to make a point for Washington State at +155 on the money line.
Oh.
Brian's been ripping me every time I text or say something about quarterback Luke Falk. He constantly is ripping this guy. Meanwhile, this guy's, especially in that Boise game, just text after text ripping him. Meanwhile, he's got 14 touchdowns this year. He's got 1 pick. He's 130 of 169. He's a senior. He's got the most games played currently for all the quarterbacks that are in the Pac-12. And USC's defense is extremely soft. They gave up 31 points at home to Western Michigan. They should have lost at home to a weaker Texas team and struggled and didn't cover last week versus Cal. Washington State averages 44 points a game. So not only am I not taking the 4, I'm telling you Washington State on the money line at +55. And like I said, they've averaged 44 points a game. I'm going to give you the final score.
Oh.
Let's stick with that 44. 44-29, Washington State. Washington State gets put back on the college football map after this game.
Wow. All right. Okay. I'm digesting that one. Parlay Kid, can you beat that? 7-team college parlay or Washington State?
Thanks for letting me. Oh, Sal, listen. Thanks for letting me go after Harry because it's like in class, like when you go after the real dumb kid, you seem smart no matter what you do, right? It's like this. All right, so my bet, which I thought was good, and I'm actually, my bet is so easy this week, so I'm not even that excited about it. But it's a sure winner, so you can't really turn it down. I feel like last week I gave you a winner I went back to my roots with the 3-team teaser.
Yeah.
You didn't take it. That's okay. Brother Bry's taking these exotic parlays like I like to take. I like his. Anytime you can go against UNC unless they're playing like Old Dominion or something like that, good job by Brian.
All right.
But, Sal, listen, this is very easy this week. I got a 2-team money line parlay at -137 here. And it's going to involve, look, I'm a homer this week, all right? Cowboys at -260 versus the Rams seems too easy on the money line for me. If it wasn't for the extra days off that the Rams have, I think, over the Cowboys, this could be -400 or above. The Cowboys found a little bit of mojo in the second half the other night against the Cardinals. I think they're going to get out to a lead against the Rams, and we know the Cowboys are much better playing out in front than from playing from behind. Dez has gotten off to a really slow start. I think he has a breakout game this week. And by the way, I tweeted Lombardi Tate about Dez and asked him what the problem is. He never got back to me. So make sure he starts looking at my tweets, please. And okay,
settle down.
That's good. That's good.
And, settle down, Parlay Kid. Settle down.
I want to know. Yeah, settle down. Settle down. Okay. So I think the Cowboys are going to come back home after 2 weeks on the road. Easy win over the Rams at 2-1. They're a nice story so far, but to me, they're still not very good. Cowboy fans are into it. They're going to win. The other team I'm putting on this 2-team money line parlay is the Falcons at -400 over the Bills. Sal, the Falcons could easily be sitting at 1-2 right now. Easily. They could have easily lost on the road to Chicago and to Detroit. Okay, they can easily think about it. The two top teams right now, the Patriots and Falcons, in terms of Super Bowl odds, could both be sitting at 1-2. But the Falcons have become the greatest show on turf. They play so fast at home. The Bills are 2-1. They're coming off a big win. They're going to have a letdown. Falcons are winning this game easily. Okay, so take them just on the money line. I was going to make this into a teaser, but just money line at -137. Cowboys, Falcons, easy money.
Wow. It's funny. You said Cowboys, and I knew it was 137. You said it ahead of time, and I wrote down your second team. I wrote down Falcons. I just knew. I just had a feeling that was the second team. Go ahead, Harry. What do you want to say? You need to.
I just wanted to make a comment there, Darren. In your picks there with Dallas and Atlanta, you said when you first took Dallas, you want to be a homer this week. Is that correct? That you said this week?
I'm being a homer this week because I jumped on the Islanders. I jumped on the Islanders.
Okay.
I'm a homer. Listen.
And wait,
Harry,
and Darren, a bust-out game for Dez. You said Dez needs a bust-out game. Is that like 25 yards now, a game? Would that be a bust-out game for him?
That's good. That's good.
I think the hot yoga heat is getting to Harry's brain a little bit. But let me go over
12 yards last week.
Harry, let me start with you. Let me start with this Washington State. I would have even maybe considered them at +4, but now you're getting too cute with the +155. And I know USC hasn't been good, and they've been disappointing, and especially on the road last week. They were winning by 17, which would have pushed, but then they ended up winning by 10 over Cal. You're in love with this Washington State team, and you talk about USC, how bad their defense is. Washington State lost to Boise. They gave up 150,000 points to Boise, who got killed by Virginia last week. And I know this because I had Boise State on a parlay.
Washington State still won the game, though.
Right, okay. But they gave up 1 million points and to a team that we now know is bad because they lost to Virginia. I'm going to pass on yours, Harry. I'm sorry. I'm passing. I'll root for you.
Especially,
wait,
Sally. You sure you're going to pass even though
I'm sure. I'm definitely sure.
My Baltimore-Jacksonville game, the way I called it, happened exactly the way I said.
I know. You did. You said the Ravens wouldn't score any points, and you're right. But you had the over. No, I know. But I have to buy one, and I don't feel comfortable with Washington State. I also have USC to win that conference, so I don't want to bet it for 7 million things.
They can still win the conference because the Pac-12
it's a different side.
South is so weak.
I just don't think. Harry, let me move on already, please. What are you doing? I have 3 of these to get to.
It's the Wash U pod.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on Harry. Brother Bry, I like a lot of those games. I really do. But I have 2 things going against it here. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to bet on Oklahoma State. I can't do it.
I knew it. I knew it.
The Central Michigan, it just gets me crazy that they lost that game. And I think I need not that long, just like 10 or 11 years before I could bet on them again. And also, I think we're in a hilarious rat race here with the Carolina Tar Heels. Who gives a crap about this team? And they end up popping up in every one of our parlays every week. And you know what's going to happen, Brother Brian. Everyone's going to come back. Everyone's going to play for that team. And they're going to win 24-21 in overtime against Georgia Tech. So I'm sorry. I think that's a nice parlay. Hopefully you could bet against it. I don't know what time everything shapes out, but +308 is nice. I'm going to pass on it. Parlay Kid, I am worried a little bit about the Cowboys. I know that I didn't like the way they opened up against Arizona. I think Carson Palmer completed 10 of 11 passes or something. Yeah, that defense reminded both of us of a defense we were familiar with before it was back in the pathetic days of back in mid-2000s. The thing that worries me a little bit, the Rams have 10 days, Cowboys coming off 6 days. I do think the Cowboys take care of business. I think the Falcons win handily. I'm still going with my thing that the Bills are not a good team. I think they're good for 5 or 6 wins this year. They caught Denver in a good spot, having to travel cross-country and everything. And it was a weird play with Von Miller at the end. I think it would have been closer. I think the Falcons are a much better team. I'm buying your parlay Kid, at -137. I'm taking Cowboys and Falcons, and I wish the other 2. I wish you guys well, but the Parlay Kid is the winner of Sharp Tank this week. So that'll do it for another episode of Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. If you think you're eligible for our Degenerate Gamblers Hall of Fame, or you just want to shoot us an email, do so. Cousin Sal against all odds at gmail.com. Tweet me at @TheCousinSal. Brother Bry is at BSZOK816. The Parlay Kid is at The Chalk Talker. Harry, you want to promote hot yoga? When are you going to be there next?
Let's see, what time is it? 6:39. It starts at 7. I can make it. I'm
okay,
leave right now.
Good. Yeah, leave right now. Go. Don't even say goodbye. Watch Jimmy Kimmel Live, 11:35 weeknights on ABC. That's that for the Degenerate Trifecta. I'm Sal saying so long and happy handicapping. Na, 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 na.